Alright, this is lesson 7-7, circumference and area of a circle. So take a look at my really well drawn circle here. There's a couple of terms that we need to remind ourselves before we can move on. So a chord is a line that goes through a circle and it touches both edges of the circle, but it does not have to go through the midpoint. So that's a chord. These two are going to be the ones that we focus on the most. We have a radius and a diameter. A diameter touches both edges of the circle and it goes through the midpoint. A radius touches one edge of the circle and then touches the midpoint of the circle. So a radius is always half of the diameter. We can use those to help us find the circumference, the distance around, or the area, the distance inside, or the amount that it would cover if I would shade the circle in, by using two formulas. The first we're going to look at is circumference. Circumference is pi times diameter. Now when we're solving for circumference, we can use 3.14 for pi, or you can use the pi button on your calculator. So I'm going to use this formula, pi times diameter, to help me solve a problem. Now what we can do is plug in the variables that we know. So let's say that they tell us that the diameter is 45 centimeters. So if I know my diameter, I'll plug that in. So I would do C equals pi times 45. And when I would solve, I would get C equals 141.4 centimeters. Now, because I'm looking for my distance around my circle, it is not the shading on the inside. So my units are not squared, and I can use a calculator to help me out with the pi function. Now, let's say that they don't give me the diameter, but they only give me the radius. So let's say the radius is 3, and that's all the information they gave me. I can still use this formula, C equals pi times d, because remember, the diameter is 2 times the radius. So if I know the radius is 3, I can multiply that by 2 to get 6, and I can still use this formula. Then I can plug that in. I'll get 18 point something, that's just off the top of my head. But I could do 3.14 times 6 to get circumference of 18.84 units, or whatever units that they give us. So that is some basics about the circle and the circumference. Tune in to the next video to figure out about area.